Hello, Professor. My name is Catherine Machuca, but I go by Kat. A funny story is I stole that nickname from a girl in third grade. I left the school soon after she started at that school, took it with me, and never saw her again. So, but I just felt like I was a better cat than she was. It stuck with me ever since. I'm currently a handful of classes away from obtaining my Bachelor's of Applied Science in Cardiorespiratory Therapy. I graduated last May from CSN with my Associates of Applied Science in Respiratory Therapy. I have now been a registered respiratory therapist for about 5 months. I work at Sunrise Hospital Medical Center. I couldn't ask for a better team. I got so lucky working at that hospital. You just learn so much, so I'm learning every single day. I saw a number of us are in your class this semester, so I'm not going to explain to you what an RT is again for the millionth time. I think long-term goals of mine would either be to stay in school and get my master's so that I can teach one day, because I think that I'm just like a natural born teacher and I love doing that. And of course to exceed at my work and to continue to grow in the field, maybe move up to like a leader position one day as well. So I feel like I'm a natural born leader as well. All my notes are right here on the screen, so bear with me if it doesn't look like I'm looking at the camera. I'm just reading from the screen. Before I was an RT, I worked at the form shops at Caesar's Palace. I worked high-end retail for about 6 years. That got me through school, which is great. They worked with my schedule. It was amazing. I'm originally from California. I'm actually here now. I'm visiting my sister and my family this weekend. But my dad was stationed at Nellis for most of my life, so I knew Las Vegas pretty well when I moved there about 6 years ago. Next question was to tell me something about your interests aside from school work. What else interests you? So besides being obsessed with my dog, I would say one interest of mine is art. I paint, I draw. It's funny because most people don't really know that about me unless they're close friends. I don't talk about it much. I think I look at it as a form of like gloating or like trying to impress other people, and that's really not what it is. It's just, it's my hobby. I just don't talk about it as much, I guess. I drew from a young age, but I stopped in 6th grade for some reason, picked back up in high school, and haven't stopped since then. I do mostly like custom pieces, so paintings of friends' dogs or like a themed shoe. I do these really intricate like collages of things, of all things that people like. So you just give me a list of like your favorite things or things that inspire you, and I make these giant collages. They're pretty cool. I actually haven't done one in a long time because of schooling, but I plan to do that now since I'm only really working like 3 days a week. So it'll be awesome. So moving into the cultural topic, the first question is, what is your object? So when I first read about this assignment, I knew exactly what I wanted to talk about. I was really excited to, but unfortunately, I had to put my best friend down a couple days ago, the beginning of the week, and I just wanted to talk about being a dog mom and the culture that comes with that, and for obvious reasons I didn't want to do it. But I came to California to visit my family, and we are such a big dog family. I saw your video, it made me really happy, and that's kind of like what inspired me to just go ahead and talk about my little pup anyways. So my object would be my dog, but ironically my sister has one of his little balls that she found here. I also have a tattoo of him. His name was Udier, and he was a Chorky. He was about 4.5 years, so really sad. His breed usually lives 10 plus years, so it was really devastating watching him in pain and having to make that decision to let the little guy go. So unfortunately he's not here with me, but I'm going to use my ball and tattoo as my items to represent him. I got the little guy 4.5 years ago off a Craigslist ad. I know you're not supposed to buy pets that way, but when you're a starving student, you kind of find your way. He was a Chorkie, so a Chihuahua and Yorkie mix. Like I said, his name was Udir, which is from a stupid video game my boyfriend at the time used to play. It means beast, like a beast in Swedish, which is hilarious because he was nothing but like the most loving, sweet little guy. He was so energetic, so smart for like a little pup. He knew so many tricks. He was just so lovable. I grew up with large dogs. So never in a million years did I think like I would get a little dog. It's just kind of funny to me to think like I had the smallest dog of the family, and everybody always made fun of me for that. But he was just so easy to take care of, and long hours and everything. I just like, didn't feel bad leaving the little, well, I felt bad leaving him home, but when you don't have that big of a dog, and it was just easier for me. I don't know. So he was definitely a showstopper at the dog park, and everybody was just obsessed with how small he was. He literally fit in the palm of my hand when I first got him at 10 weeks. Everybody was so impressed how small he was and how fast and determined he was. He was a fetcher, like full on. Like when he go to the dog park, he wouldn't really associate with other dogs too much. He was just like all about his ball, all about his tennis ball, really. That was his favorite thing in the world. So talking about him, I wanted to talk about like the dog mom, the dog dad like community, because it's huge in Las Vegas. I mean, it's huge in California, but I got him in Las Vegas, and it's massive. I've met so many people and have made a lot of friends, surprisingly. I'm I think an easy person to get along with. I'm more outgoing, like outspoken, it's not a problem for me. But like friends wise, I really have like a block up. I'm usually just like an acquaintance kind of person. I have my close knit friends and that's about it. But dogs and puppies and dog parks and being around those type of people really like broke down that barrier. It was such a good icebreaker for me. It really is a culture of its own, what I have found. And this topic has really made me like discover that. You don't really think about those kind of things. Like, oh, it's a whole culture, but I mean, it really is. So from social media groups that I'm in to play dates that you make, there's different apps you can do. It's kind of like a Tinder app, but it's a way of just like meeting other dogs. And it's funny because, like I said, my dog's not really like social with other dogs, even though he was kind of forced to. He gets along with other dogs. But when we're at the park, he's just like in the zone, So it was kind of, I guess, more for me too. And you just meet other people who are obsessed with their dogs. So yeah, it really did give me something else to do other than schoolwork. So I love my dog family, and they have been so amazing. And when I turn to them with my broken heart, and they're so uplifting and supportive with that. So around town, I've literally drove across Las Vegas, taking them to different types of parks. What do we like? What kind of dogs do you go there? Because typically it's like the same people who kind of go to the dog parks in town. So my favorite is Bark Basin Park in Summerlin. Really huge. They have the small dog park, the large dog park, and there's usually high volume times. So after work was like the best time to go. But the awesome thing about these dog parks is they stayed open later. So for students, most of the time, I found of a lot of students who would go later in the night with me, and we would take our dogs after like going to school, going to work, and then getting off and having to go. So that was really cool. They definitely left the lights on for us. It isn't too far from my house, so I had the pleasure of meeting trainers, dog sitters, and dog cooks. I know that's really funny, but there's actual people who like meal prep for your dog. So it's kind of a unique trade, but I thought that was really funny and really interesting. So I'll go into the next question, which is do some basic research and find one fact about the object. So one of Udi's, like I said, his favorite toys was his Kong tennis ball. And I was thinking, that's so funny. Like, what's the connection? When did dogs, because my dogs growing up always played with tennis balls. I mean, they were golden retrievers, but the bigger ones, and they sell the really small ones too, because those are the ones that he used. And I was like, what's the connection? When did this start? Like, what's the history of dogs and tennis balls? So I started doing some research, and turns out that while digging a little deeper, I found out that tennis balls are actually not recommended for dogs. So according to, bring up the website, dogsnet.com, an article that was posted. It's called "My Dog Ate a Tennis Ball. Will They Be Okay?" That's the name of the title, but it was just written last year in September. But really it breaks down not only swallowing, but really just like the use of tennis balls. One second, let me bring it up. So, for dogs who love to chew and that becomes their favorite toy, the article says that if your dog continually chews on the tennis ball, there is a potential risk that they will wear down their teeth enamel and a process known as blunting. So just like wear down the sharpness of it, I guess, is kind of how I looked at it before. But the American Veterinary Dental Society states that dogs that are allowed to chew on tennis balls will wear down their front teeth and their back teeth. So therefore, when it comes to eating or any, over time, like it becomes difficult for them to eat or to properly chew their food entirely. So it kind of freaked me out being a dog owner. That's why they make specific dog balls like Kong. The brand Kong is really great. They make it so that the turf isn't so rough, because tennis balls, as the article states, are made for playing tennis, for taking a beating on the turf. So it's like a rug. So your dog is literally like chewing and licking on a rug, so it can cause kind of like a rug burn on their tongue. So that was really interesting that I found out. There was one other piece in here that says, it kind of, goes into detail, like how can my dog play safely with tennis balls, because, there's certain type of balls like these kinds that are a little bit more like rougher and sturdier, but my dog just like wasn't for it. He always played with the tennis ball. So if you have a dog like you do yourself and they're a chewer, it just kind of lists different things that you can do. So only let your dog play with tennis balls with supervision. Do not let your dog don't let them chew on it. Just kind of play fetch with them, but don't let that become a chewing toy. Throw out any worn out old balls, because of like the carpet like feel of the ball. It can collect a lot of like debris, also bacteria. It's easy for it to grow. So just being safe with it. But I would really recommend that for any type of toy, right? So, but I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that much about tennis balls. So I have that. Let's see. The next question is to explain how you personally fit into the culture and what the culture is about from your own point of view. So like I was saying, I grew up my entire life with dogs. And I'm not just talking about just like having a family dog. It was like we were such a dog family that we had birthday parties for our dogs. They had their own stocking on the fireplace. They had presents under the tree. We had they've been in a number of weddings. So it's just like so funny, because you meet some people who are like cat people, or people who just don't understand. Like they have a dog, but maybe they just like don't understand on that level. So it's funny. And our dogs growing up were like our brothers. I remember my little sister was in Taekwondo, and when she was like, 7, and the instructor asked like, oh, do you have any brothers or sisters you want to recommend to come to the program? And she was like, oh, well, my sisters live in California, and my brother is a dog. It was so hilarious, because we full-heartedly thought they were like our brothers. Like, my sister's dogs are my nephew and niece. My grandparents call our dogs their grand dogs. It's really funny. So pets just like fascinate people in this culture, and we spend the amount of time that we spend on them and money that we spend on them. It's like they are our children. And you hear this a lot, four-legged child, and that's not to be like disrespectful or say, because I've kind of gotten that approach before too, like, oh, you don't want kids, or oh, it's nothing like having a real kid. Well, look, of course. But it's just that unconditional love, you know? So no one looks at you like you're crazy when you say things like that. This culture to me represents and that unconditional love and the respect for another species, you know? It's so crazy how we can become so attached and so close, and I'm gonna cry, to this other species. It's wild to me. My little guy left way too soon. Unfortunately, he developed something over time that isn't really common in his breed, but it was a spinal injury. They said it's something that developed either hereditary or over time. And, you know, he got me through so much. School, and okay, he got me through a lot, but like this culture, these people that you stay connected to, got me through so much. You know, school, I went through a breakup with him. He attended my sister's wedding as my date. I mean, just like so much, you know, this community, I think, values most definitely like animal health and protection. We support each other when we lose our fur babies because, you know, we know what it's like, and it's like losing a child, I'm sure, you know. So I don't have any children of my own, but what I have put together is, in this community, the dog moms are the most non-judgmental and supportive group that I've ever become associated with. So, yeah, I love my dog community. I love my dog culture, my dog mom culture. So after rewatching the video, I noticed that I completely skipped a part about like what I'm memorable for, and I know everybody is kind of like self-conscious about something or the other, and I mean, I have a ton of them myself, but for me, something that I'm proud of is like my hair. I get a ton of compliments on my hair. It's kind of what I'm known for. I have never dyed it, I've never permed it, I've never done anything crazy to it. Just trimmed it my whole life. So I was blessed with a pretty mane. I was actually voted best hair in high school, so it's kind of cool. It's really long right now. I need to trim it, but yeah. Went to the beach yesterday, so it's kind of like wavy. But yeah, just want to throw that in there. I wanted to introduce you to, oh no, Josie, to Josie. There's a beautiful chocolate lab. It's my sister's baby. See, big dogs. It's crazy. It's really helped being home and being with other puppers. So she's about, I think, 6 or 7 months now. So she's still a baby, but she's huge. So I just wanted to share that. Have a great day.